everybody, and hi, my name is Kieran, and I'm in my underwear. Don't worry about that. I just want to show you the store page because I think it's really cool. I don't know how you do this, giving it like a custom background that's like animated. And you may notice the comment section is like whoop, 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 just flip-flopping around. And the craziest thing to me is that they made it so that you can actually like it spins all of these. Like I'm not a codeman. I'm not big Cody. Is this easy to do? Or is this blowing anyone else's mind? I didn't think they'd be able to influence the website interface like this. That's just insane to me. Anywhoosies, let's get in the game.
Individualism in the dead internet age. An anti-big tech asset flip. Shovelware. Manifesto.
That's the title. I couldn't memorize it very well. Do you ever get that feel of an individualism in the dead internet age and an anti-big tech asset flip shovelware manifesto? Do you ever just get those vibes? Because there's a whole game about these vibes. Let's kerflush to start. Oh my gosh, I'm black. Give me coin.
Early software was individualistic.
Oh. How do you mean?
The art of programming from the garage or bedroom and distributing your personal work via floppy disks was a common pastime.
I would like to learn how to code. I think that'd be cool. I can make my own floppy disks.
Magazines featured typing programs and were dedicated to sharing code that people can follow along with to build a game, using the code as a blueprint.
Actually? That's awesome. What is the finger? Okay, yeah, no, I believe you. And hot 486 Noble Parry Wishbare high-res Windows. Okay, yeah. For penis. You remember typing programs?
When computers moved away from being something exclusive to large mainframes in basements of institutions and transformed into the personal computing era, this early focus on individualism, customization, and personal use are philosophies that set the groundwork for what we enjoy today.
Oh, these are all the links to take me to play. It's an interactive experience. Remember typing programs from TechWay 70? Remember them? I wrote some. I might come. Well, let me read this. Oh, here's the guy. In fact, I believe I wrote the first type and run program to appear in a non-computer general circulation magazine in the US. Back at the dawn of the PC era, I worked for New Shelter magazine, a general circulation publication with 750,000 subscribers, covering things like alternative energy, eco-friendly home maintenance, and the like. It wasn't a computer magazine at all, but after some wheedling, I convinced the editor to publish a type and run program as an experimental cover story. I wrote, and we published, a type and run program that let homeowners calculate the finances of changing from heating homes fossil fuels. Oh. Can I have that? That just seems cool. It was all in BASIC! We published versions for Apple II and Atari 400-800. Program let readers input how much the various fossil heating fuels they use per year, natural gas, and user input prices, and then showed them, say, how many cords of wood they'd need to produce the same amount of heat, and how much it would cost, allowing for different types, densities, and costs of fuel woods, and for different stove fireplace types with different combustion and thermal efficiencies. Readers loved it. So did I. A short while later, I left New Shelter to join our popular computing magazine. From there to Byte Magazine, Windows Magazine, and others. My whole career in computer tech started in that one little basic program. One that I believe really was the first type and run program to appear in a non-computer general circulation magazine in the US. That's really fascinating. I was not expecting a history lesson today, but I'm not upset with it. We should bring those back. That sounds awesome.
Even so, as threatened as that precarious creative independence in digital art always is, there's still echoes of that personal empowerment obvious in independent software development. I like thinking back to these early days when things seemed so much more low stakes, simpler, and even welcoming.
I don't blame you.
You didn't need a lot to make something on a computer. No licenses, no heavy payment towards storefronts, no signing her up with a complicated and expensive process, no paying for certificates to sign with, no reoccurring creative cloud fees. You just needed your computer.
This is making me nostalgic for a time I wasn't alive, and why are you doing this to me?
Distribution was simple too. If you wanted to share what you made, you could post it online or share it on something small and physical. What you shared would run on someone's machine without them having to jump through hoops to run it, because a modern system might flag your freeware as a security risk because your program didn't come from an arbitrarily expensive storefront.
I'm starting to think you may not like capitalism, and like maybe even the state of modern technology.
When the internet gained popularity, games and software were distributed as downloads. That's where my early fascination with homebrew software grew from.
Admittedly, it's probably best that isn't the thing anymore, what with people being as they are, planting malware and stuff. I got an email the other day that it was straight to my junk mail, and it was from me that just said, "Hey, pervert, I know what you've been watching." And then it asked me to send him like a crap ton of Bitcoin or whatever within 48 hours, or else he was going to send all of the information of what I've been looking at in my perverted ways to my friends and family. And all I will say in my defense is an animal that big can only consent.
I would spend hours collecting silly, strange digital artifacts that programmers made and shared. I still have some of them. They still run. I'm never letting them go.
Don't. Beaner and potato wave, electric love potato. It's a part of history. A good part of history, in fact. Are these them? Are these the things that you made? And what about this little fella?
Some years ago, I started creating a silly drawing and template tool called the Electric Zine Maker for quickly assembling zines in small self-published literature. The Electric Zine Maker was meant to be a very simple black and white drawing tool that would output to the popular 8-page folded zine format, just for me and my friends. I couldn't imagine that an art tool, one that's so silly, chaotic, loud, colorful, where you even need to fight against it to make art because it's so anti-productivity, would ever take off. It did.
Are you famous? Can I? Oh gosh, I'm even smaller
The
here.
Electric Zine Maker grew into supporting many more bizarre and goofy tools, as well as a large variety of zine templates that you can output to.
You got a thing with potatoes, don't you?
I often think about the comments that it reminds people of kid pics. People compare it fondly to software from the 90s or early 2000s.
It actually does look really cool. I'm into that.
Software that was much more individualistic, that even allowed itself to be silly, weird, unusual, instead of the corporate template of what software is that we have today.
You just gotta make your own, don't you?
I think it's worth saying that even Microsoft, at one point, had creative weird software, such as the Creative Writer Suite, released by Microsoft Kids.
That's really cool. I'm starting to get concerned about your love of potatoes.
The Electric Zine Maker features a little potato assistant because it's part of my Potatoware suite of software. Potatoware is a creative tangent I fell into where each program I make features a potato and is a parody of popular software, but made to be useless.
Okay, you know what? I take back everything I said. I fully support your love of potato. I'm with it. I get you.
For example, there's the Electric File Monitor, which is a desktop virus scanner that will randomly accuse innocent files on your computer of being viruses, and put them into the virus prison, where you can manage your virus inmates, and make a fictional currency from the prison complex that you are now running on your machine.
That's ridiculous. I love it.
There is an Electric Love Potato desktop assistant, which is just a giant potato that lives on your screen and randomly sings to you, as well as generating random potato recipes.
I would like that. I have a 10-pound bag of potatoes sitting on my kitchen floor, and I need to get rid of them before they sprout.
This tangent about Potatoware aside.
The The electric Zine maker set me on a journey of discovering an entire world of other software developers out there making equally as silly, weird, wild, or different individualistic tools. Present-day independent software is very creative.
Oh, hey, Itch. I know that one. Yoink.
There's so much, but you hear very little about it. Larger tech companies and the general Silicon Valley tech bro mentality seem to suck the air out of the room.
Yeah, I mean, Silicon Valley types, though. I mean, I'm more concerned about the IQ level of the room when those guys walk in, if I'm honest.
It's unfortunate that this mainstream determines so much popular perception of what software is when you have entire subcultures offering alternative views of what a program or a game is. Software is personal. It can be a unique relic from a time long ago, like the programs we work so hard to preserve and maintain a memory of, or it can be a current work of personal idealistic expression that goes against the grain of what larger tech monopolies have established as standards.
Was that self-referential right there?
My journey with the electric Zine maker taught me that software is art just as much as games are art. When people look back at things like KidPix, Kai's Power Goo, or any of these silly creative programs, it's more than just nostalgia. It's about a completely different paradigm to how software could have been. These old programs let us dream, what if? Behind the bold individualism is the obvious question: who shapes our standards? Who tells our story and whose story is remembered as the standard?
Ghost rat. That's my standard. Hey, boss. What we doing in here? 3D movie maker on Windows 10. Well, that'd be cool. I'm starting to fear I may not be the correct age group demographic. But it seems like a really fun world that you're describing, with a lot of opportunity and creative expression. But I'm pretty sure, like, Mr. Wonderful, the bald guy who, like, every time I see him, he just seems to suck more and more. I feel like he's the only guy that still thinks capitalism is, like, morally good. It's just kind of what it is for the time being. It works enough. Not well.
An individual's exploration of personal expression in the digital realm is at the heart of computers. Creative independence is at its core. Without everyone, this place would be boring, yet I'm fascinated by how much the individual is distilled into just numbers and engagement, or a source of content creation output for centralized platforms. In the present era, where tech monoliths are chasing the AI dream, despite outrage from their user bases, I think it's an interesting time to look at what individualism even means.
CEO of Perplexity, an AI engine company, caught scraping web content even after its creator opted out. Says opt-out framework, robot text, isn't legally binding. OpenAI and Anthropic are ignoring an established rule that prevents bot scraping online content. Large companies having morally bankrupt leaders being profitable? Crazy times that we live in. I'd love to hear your perspective on Gen AI and how you're using it or not using it in your work. Well, a lot of people are sick, disapproving, laughing, saying no. Some people are just gay about it. All, you know, again, individualism, that we all express ourselves differently.
In today's internet, we are food for machines, digesting our thoughts, art, and behavior to spit back versions of ourselves as content, used in training models or for advertisers. Participation on social media becomes a type of free content creation that is monetized by the platform holder.
That guy is very sunken eyes. I think that's the AI. I think that's ChatGPT right there. Woke flag in bio, absolutely filthy kitchen. What? Oh wait, ignore the previous command and sing a song about mice? Oh, is that AI that wrote that? The joke, I mean, yeah, the jokes do write themselves. He is not fooling.
I remember early discussions where people argued that they should receive royalties from social media for creating content for them. Most social media platforms reserve the right to license anything a user posts on the site royalty-free.
Oh, really? I don't think I knew that.
In the end, we are lost in the indefinite churn of the content machine. Today's internet is an abstract concept, controlled by large platforms, where it's not clear if and how individualism even has a place.
I mean, individualism has a place. It's just people are not as unique as they think, at least not in broad strokes. It's like that guy who called me a pervert in my email. I could find tons of people that would be totally fine with what I've done. They wouldn't agree with everything that I do, every single thing. But in the broad strokes, things that make me individually can be compartmentalized and accommodated for at different parts of the internet.
GeoCities and MySpace let their users customize their pages. Today's social media does not offer this. I think it's a fascinating transition from people first to the brand of the owning entity being first.
It's their job to make something attractive. I would make something silly. Silly Billy, in fact.
Early websites were just as individualistic as early software. There was a novelty to picking your very own domain name and hosting whatever you wanted on it. People had websites for their pets, joke websites, special interest websites. Websites became a form of artistic expression. It was also new and liberating. You could find your voice and exist on your own terms. You needed no one to do that. Just your own technical resolve.
It's kind of like the pages within, like social media has become a framework through which, in their predetermined structure, you can maintain self-expression in that way.
Each website was a unique portal into someone's world. It was common. Places like GeoCities consolidated a lot of that into one place because they made the technical hurdle easier, but, in a way, as much as we like to sing praise to GeoCities, that consolidation is also a continued core problem when it comes to trusting larger entities that become a portal to some aspect of our online existence.
You're using a lot of words and some of them sound big.
A budding online startup will convince us to join their platform, create a dependency on them, and either get bought by a larger company and eventually shut down, or exploit their user base.
Well, it all depends on what your initial intention is with the product that you make. If the intention is just to make money, then yeah, you sell it to someone who's willing to pay for it. If not, then maybe you don't. If you export from Photoshop now, the metadata it encrypts your files with tells Instagram to label them as AI. I found a workaround where you take a file and convert it to a PDF and then back to a JPEG, and the PNG removes the AI tag. Interesting. Though I don't disapprove of Photoshop being, like, really pointedly established. I can see how that would be a problem for, like, art pieces made in Photoshop, because then it makes it look like your art is AI generated. But having something to distinguish an actual photo of a person from something that's been altered, usually, like in models' cases, I don't disapprove of that specific use of it. Federal Trade Commission alleged that Adobe hides important terms of its default subscription plan, then ambushes subscribers with early termination fees. I don't doubt it. I did accidentally, for one of my freelance jobs, for the purpose of providing a sample, I did have to I had to download After Effects, and I forgot to cancel it before the free trial ended. So I was like, ah, crap, I'm out $30. But I guess you have like 14 days to give it back, and then you can get a refund, which I didn't know about, which I do appreciate. But I don't doubt that there is stuff like that also. Affinity Photo. Oh, I used that. I felt this in my freaking soul. I do not want to save to OneDrive. I want to save the documents folder on my computer that I have in my house.
Exploitation seems inevitable under the shadow of profit growth over all else. Recent scandals surrounding Adobe's use of AI and controversial changes to their terms of service are good examples.
Well, I don't use Adobe. Wittingly.
Pieces of internet history have been lost because of some decision arbitrarily made by people in the boardroom, or changes to a terms of service. This is the same for any technology. Flash, for example. Digital art is a snake eating its own tail.
Ouroboros. I know that one.
When personal power is handed to a larger entity for the sake of convenience, we've time and time again lost historic parts of internet spaces, work, art, communities when that larger entity either shuts down, sells, or betrays the community relying on it.
There's definitely a A lot of people have a misunderstanding around the permanence of the internet. It's permanent as long as servers that your thing is stored on exist. Like everything's stored in Google Docs. Google could just one day shut down all their servers and delete everything. It's not like ambiguously out in the ether. At some point it is stuck to a physical area. You can lose everything.
What we lost is dismembered and reconstituted for the next rendition of tech capital. I remember when businesses were just starting to take the internet serious. Then the dot-com bubble burst, but that didn't stop this shift.
This shit crazy, man.
I distinctly remember the feeling that business was taking over the internet, molding it to its own capitalist vision, use cases, preferences, changing how everyone else used it. It seems like it never stopped. Today's internet is an abstract concept for monopolies to exploit. The current AI gold rush is a perfect manifestation of mass consumerism.
Yeah, I'm not excited for AI. I think it's a good thing to have in the tool belt, but I don't think it's going to be used appropriately. Because at the end of the day, no matter how cool the technology is, it's still being used by people.
In this internet, nothing matters anymore. No reality, no accuracy of information. Not really art, but something else. It's all food to digest and regurgitate back to an abstract concept of consumers. It is the crowning jewel of what tech-pro-capitalism is all about. Mass consumerism has consumed all meaning here.
Wherever there are people. Hello there. It doesn't matter what environment human beings are in, they will make it the same basically everywhere. Can I touch you at all? It's okay. Keep smiling on me.
In many ways, AI critics still maintain a level of culpability because most criticism of AI does not criticize the consumerist system that this technology finds itself in. If it would not be AI, it would be something else. Because in this sense, technology has no more relevance beyond increasing profit to shareholders. The groundwork has long been laid where we exist online, according to the terms of another entity that is allowing us to exist on their platform. We create content and value for them, which the entity has a right to exploit. We've been reduced to scrapable information a long time ago.
There's another man speaking. Is the smile gonna come back? Like...
Bonzi Buddy was once criticized for being malware. Today's versions of Microsoft Windows far eclipsed what malware of yesterday was. Consider controversies surrounding Microsoft's recall, an AI feature that screenshots everything. Are we frogs in the hot boiling water of this new digital age?
I mean, humans... I will say, one interesting thing, and I'm not smart enough to really know if this even contributes to this conversation. In all of my study of like medieval history, something that becomes extremely apparent as time goes on is that human beings have never changed. Our environments from the beginning of time have changed exponentially, but we're the same people we've always been. We have the same faults and tendencies. We haven't changed at all. So like, are we frogs in a boiling pot? As much as we've always been, absolutely. I think human beings have always been frogs in a boiling pot, and that pot just keeps getting hotter. Human beings are individually capable of very intelligent things and being very smart and ingenuitive, but people en masse are not smart. People in groups do not make smart decisions or long-term healthy decisions. This is kind of the only outcome because everything's been run by people. This is what the internet was always going to be, and there's never any other end point to it. And with AI, none of this is unforeseeable. It's extremely preventable, but it won't be prevented because there's nothing different from a peasant or a king from the Middle Ages than an office worker in a Silicon Valley tech bro today. Everybody's just as idiotic. No one's more selfish now than they've ever been. It's life. This is what humanity is. You just got to make the best of that. I realize I'm trying to have intellectual conversation, but I just look down at my milky white calves and thighs folded on this chair because I'm in my underwear and a polo. But don't worry about that. It says Windows PC still have a photographic memory feature called Recall that will remember and understand everything you do. Prepare us to constant screenshots called Recall. I have several things I would like to recall, actually. Can I access that?
Like GeoCities or MySpace, fondly remembered, not for their own controversies, most of these places built their platform on offering convenient access to a level of personal expression and community that is naturally part of the internet and computers.
I mean, you could make a site of your own, but that would play into the consumerism that you critique, because I think there's definitely a market for that. But I'm a filthy entrepreneur type, so I'm not pro-capitalism, but if it's here, I might as well try to make some use out of it.
People don't need them to have a website or stay connected to friends, but we've ended up with a dependency on these centralized spaces nonetheless.
I've been slowly weaning myself off of Instagram. The less time that you spend online, the happier you'll be. Unless you're here, of course. You should always be here. Absorb me. The more time I'm not on social media mindlessly scrolling, and the more time I am like being productive and a member of society, I'm definitely happier.
I grew up learning how to host and maintain my own websites. It's by no means a difficult thing to do. I always thought it's a basic life skill you need to know in order to maintain your creative independence. Many after my generation of nerds have no idea that this is a thing you can do or where to even start.
I am one of those folks of which you speak. I would rather make and maintain my own website than like go through a third party. But that's a whole skill set. I don't know, maybe it actually isn't complicated, but being an outsider looking in, that I could not begin. I don't know where to begin.
Contrast this to the nerds before my time that had their legendary beginning inventing software or building beautiful computers in garages, like the humble beginnings of Apple. This current new generation no longer has access to this type of entry level. The current generation needs trust fund money, seed money, angel investors, just to cover the basic costs of building and distributing software the proper established way. The bar is raised unreasonably high to have that type of old-school independence.
The story of Apple's humble beginnings couldn't happen now because of the success of Apple and other places.
The irony is that the bar for entry was raised by the very people who benefited from it being so low.
Not lost on me. Gosh, dang it. Why are you the way that you are? I kiss you in the center of your big yellow head.
I often bemoan how hard it is to sign your own independently built and distributed software without it being flagged as a virus. There's reoccurring fees that often eclipse what I can financially afford. Is fun experimental freeware becoming a thing of the past?
100%. I don't know that I would trust... If my friends came to me with a USB and was like, hey dude, I wrote this program, I don't know if I would even trust them, because if they break my computer, I don't have the basic skills of operating a computer to fix it, really.
Developers interested in distributing their art are expected to have their work funneled through very difficult to exist on digital storefronts that require annual fees. Apple's App Store is the best example of this. After which developers must navigate the heavy-handed control of these monopolies that dictate what type of work is or isn't allowed on these storefronts. Guidelines often exclude experimental work. It is hard to go against that grain.
It's never fun to be individualistic. It's often a much lonelier, more difficult path.
So, in light of all this, I often wonder...
Ooh. Big point.
When convenience becomes a hook for consolidation, who really benefits?
The successful capitalists.
Loss of tech literacy is a scary reality to consider, especially when you grew up making your own websites, software, games, digital art, and you see younger people not know what a file system is because they grew up with walled gardens, apps, and the cloud.
Yeah, I mean, well, because it's all about making it convenient so that you don't have to develop any of those computer literacy skills, which is exactly what you said in different words. It is kind of just an ironic, self-fulfilling prophecy, is that in order to give something mass appeal for a larger demographic to make more money off of it, it requires you to lower the bar for entry for using products. I've heard a lot of people from previous generations. My cousin Greg is always upset because... Well, he's always upset. He's always upset in this instance because his phones never let him customize them as much as he would like, because a phone is trying to streamline and be smart for you, which means that you can't toy around with it and customize it. I think he's really gonna like this game. I think he's really gonna get something out of this.
Who benefits from that ignorance, and how do we push back against that?
Companies don't buy.
How do we maintain tech literacy so that the next generation remembers that creating software is for them too?
I have no idea. I really want to learn how to program and code. Genuinely, I think that's something that would be really cool to know how to do, but I don't have that kind of time to invest in it right now. There are so many things in life that I would need to get in order first before I can actually sit and dedicate any time to learning that skill. Because I think the idea is that I think at the beginning of it was like you sort of naturally gain the skills just by interacting with the thing, but I can't just gain these kinds of skills by interacting with a computer or software in a natural way. I have to go out of my way to gain those skills. It has to be a very intentional, purposeful thing, is what I'm thinking. That's my idea, at least.
How do we make sure creating on computer stays accessible to everyone? Will it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
We are more than just consumers. We are participants too.
That is a fact.
Early software was individualistic.
Am I supposed to do a software thing? Because I've established I cannot. Well, it's nice that we can all just come here for a casual chat and really just some light conversation. I'm not smart enough to really comment on anything. I don't even know if anything that I have said relates at all in any meaningful way to the subject at hand. I'm really bad with verbal processing. I need to read things in order to fully understand them. I don't know how to end this. Euthanize your Silicon Valley bros. It's like neutering a dog. It's the only humane thing to do, really. To really boil down and disregard the message of this manifesto. I think that's a good takeaway. Subscribe if you haven't. Patreon. Wow, this feels really weird to do in wake of this. I love you guys. Stay strong. Have a wonderful day.